Avinash Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women takes pride in presenting a discussion on high usage of IT during COVID 2019 situation, how to be cyber safe, which is the need of the hour. Every step you make, every turn you take, it is the internet that is perhaps enabling it. Powering the router placed in a corner as well as stimulating mobile data packages played significant role to keep up the assignments at work and home actually made life easy in lockdown times. When the routine life is tumbled, the life is really recalibrated by internet. There are more than 60 crore internet users in India, and out of this, about 29 crores are in rural areas. Data from the Department of Telecommunications showed that between March 22 and March 28, Indians consumed an average of 307 petabytes of data per day. Business Standard, in its special coverage on COVID 2019, has specified that data consumption in rural areas showed high usage rates during March 2020. It was evidently shown how people consumed more streaming content and logged on to work from home, which was also captured in how data demand from residences increased as compared to commercial users. The constant exposure to social media for the purposes of our professional work may contribute significantly to and influence our day to day life. Over the last few weeks, social media users have been sharing screenshots, video chats with friends, family, and colleagues. Besides WhatsApp, Facebook, apps like MS Teams, Google Meet, Zoom were widely used. We all experienced virtual happiness by connecting with people through the internet during days of social distancing. We are tuned to the digital changes and experienced how gadgets are smart to design for humans. Indeed, we are digitally transformed to take advantage of emerging technologies. We use apps like Swiggy, access e-commerce websites, and are into various platforms for our work purposes. Children playing online games. Very importantly, several payment gateways were used for online payments, thus leading a mobile-enabled life. How far are we safe? Here we go with a discussion on how safe we need to be in the cyberspace and how we can safeguard ourselves from harmful effects. We have Dr. Padmavati Ganapathy, Professor, Department of Computer Science, with more than 3 decades of teaching, research, and industrial experience with greater expertise in cybersecurity. Her areas of interest include cybersecurity, wireless communication, and real-time systems. She has executed 2.39 crores worth projects, more than 200 publications, life member in professional bodies. She has supervised 19 scholars at PhD level in cybersecurity domain, currently offering MOOC course in cybersecurity under SWAYAM platform. Welcome, madam. We have Dr. C. Meena, Head of Computer Center and Nodal Officer of National Cyber Defense Research Center. Her specialization includes image processing and cybersecurity. She has research experience of 15 years and supervised 7 PhD candidates. I welcome you, madam. They are with us to make us understand how safe or unsafe we are in cyber environment and enhance our knowledge about what is happening around. With them, this is Dr. Aarti, Associate Professor in Business Administration. Can I take your response, Dr. Meena? Is Zoom call hacked during this pandemic? What will be the precautions in order to be safe while using Zoom?
Thank you, Vati. It's a timely question. In this case, a significant number of employees currently rely on Zoom for their official meetings and collaboration while working remotely. So, Zoom is attacked by hackers group during this COVID-19 as Zoom is free, many were using it. So, due to the Zoom's steep growth and popularity, cyber criminals are using this as an opportunity to further their ulterior motives by registering new fake Zoom domains and malicious Zoom executable files in an attempt to trick people into downloading malware on their devices. By joining random Zoom meetings using the meetings links, usually it is shared publicly only in Twitter, WhatsApp, and Facebook groups with the intents of malicious activities. So anyone can join Zoom meeting as long as they have the link. What are the precautions and suggestions can we use this Zoom meeting? First point is unsolicited screen saving. and control your audience via waiting room, lock the meeting once it starts, and turn off the file transfer, turn off the meeting chat, enable your two-factor authentication. Enable your two-factor authentication. These are all the important points for taking measures of conducting the Zoom meeting. And the suggestions will be always download authentic Zoom software. From some download options for PCs and laptops. For mobile, use Play Store and Apple Store. Ensure that your Zoom application is up to date. Whenever a meeting invite is shared, double check that it is from a trusted source and the meeting link is legitimate. Be aware of the phishing emails, and this can appear as Zoom. If a hacker gets access to a meeting, they can spread malware by sending mails to users through chats. Say, for example, during this pandemic period, South African Parliament's Zoom call hacked with pornography racial abuse. A virtual meeting of South African lawmakers has been disrupted by hackers who flooded the video call with pornographic images. Zoom has been facing criticism internationally as a result of reports of hackers who disrupt meeting by posting offensive content. Zoom bombing or hacking of Zoom calls has been frequent in recent weeks. What are the problems in Zoom bombing? We may call this Zoom bombing as classroom hijacking. This will interrupt lectures and learning, left the online lectures vulnerable, trap the calls, and try to steal the contents also. So the information security means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So finally, the analogy of life and technology is the life is yours. Safeguard your life. Learn how to live with COVID situation. Likewise, technology is with you. Learn how to make use of this technology appropriately and follow the safe procedures. Nowadays, government also says the same thing.
Madam, would you like to add some more points in these lines?
Yes, definitely, Dr. Aarti. As it is well explained by Dr. Meena, we are facing a lot of challenges due to some of the online applications which are not authentic in nature. Naturally, this invites a lot of troubles like cyber attacks and ransomware, phishing email. So that ultimately leads to stealing the credentials of the individuals, organizations, government, both government and non-government, etc. So this scenario forces all of us to think of the very important challenge today, which is cybersecurity. So it's I think it is rightly pointed out by both of you that we are here to discuss on that. So naturally, I feel that all the above challenges are experienced, and definitely we should think of the mechanisms to overcome and handle the situation.
During this COVID 2019, work from home style has been adopted to continue with the organizational activities to complete the targets. When we work online, we are exposed to certain risks. What are the security challenges when we work on remote mode? How far this is secured, and what is the working style generally followed by the employees? Madam, I would like to take the response from you.
Yes, as rightly pointed out, cybersecurity is a major challenge because most of us are operating in the online mode. We are forced to do so. So definitely COVID-19 has thrown us towards two different important challenges. That is, the entire human race is challenged through these two important aspects. One is our health issue, and the second one is by creating enormous economic stability or downtrend. So how are we going to manage these two situations in spite of the challenges, cybersecurity challenges? First of all, what we understand at this point of time is countries encourage their employees to stay at home, and they also want us to adapt the remote culture of working. This is mainly for want of the maintenance of the social distancing, which is absolutely necessary at this point of time to curtail the spread of the virus. Second one, most of the companies are struggling to cope up with the situation because on one side they want to protect their health of the employees, and the other side they want to literally shift them to the remote working style. So naturally this some people try to capitalize this situation by means of spreading the phishing attacks. So, how to manage the above two situations? One, countries encourage their employees to stay at home and remote working culture to maintain the social distancing, which is absolutely necessary to curtail the spreading of the virus. Second, companies are struggling to cope up with the situation. On one side, they want to protect their employees' health by shifting them from their different mode of operation, for example, remote working style. On the other hand, they are facing a lot of cyber security challenges like the phishing attacks and other ransomware attacks. Here, I would like to quote some of the best practices that can be followed when we are thinking of work from home culture, which is absolutely necessary at this point of time. First of all, secure the environment, which is your working environment from home. So, set up a private place or a room for your office work. Second, maintain clear desk policy. That is, you should keep away all the sensitive information out of your sight. Third, lock the screens and shut down the devices when they are not in use because that may lead to some capturing of unwanted data. Fourth one, as mentioned by Dr. Meena, set strong passwords either through your two-phase or three-phase or multi-phase authentication mechanisms where password setting is one important phase of it. Fifth one, keep work and home devices separate. Don't try to mix because some of the home devices may have our personal information, so do not try to use them interchangeably. Sixth, connect via only through office virtual private network, in short VPN if possible. Next, personal privacy should be taken care at most important, which is the need of the hour. And your secure home Wi-Fi access points use WAP2 with strong passwords because they have to be little reconfigured in such a way that strong passwords are entertained. The next is you have to be very careful about the phishing attacks. Beware of COVID-19 phishing attacks which come in multiple forms and multiple ways nowadays. Finally, what do we do when the suspicious link is clicked unknowingly? Because sometimes things happen even without our knowledge. So the best practice is open an antivirus software and run a full scan, and whenever it is required or whenever you start working, and contact the information technology department of your office immediately about the further course of action so that either they can stop the unwanted activities happening or just started happening, and you can even change your passwords immediately so that you can protect from the major disasters that can take us by a phishing attack or a ransomware attack.
Would you like to contribute further towards work from home style?
Yes, I fully agreed with Dr. Padmavati Madam's words. Previously, only the corporates practicing the work from home facility. During this pandemic situation, government sectors as well as private sectors, all are practicing this working from home facility. It's a good sign. So, having said the CEO of TCS and Infosys and other private companies or other corporate companies, they are saying 75% of the employees are working from home only 25% as per their need they are coming to the office and working. Especially the higher officials, they have to work from home because they are the decision makers. So they are very much keen on that point, and it maintains a cost effectiveness also.
Viewers, stay tuned with us with much more interesting questions. a big way. There are several innovations to manage crisis moments in COVID times. Is there any advanced technology developed specific to COVID? Is there any technology in the smartphone platform that will alert users if they come to contact with a person with COVID 19?
Yes, nowadays life is nothing without a mobile phone. We have to agree this point. During the COVID 19 situation, Apple and Google want to track your phone into a COVID tracking mission. They are joining forces to build an application in contact tracing tool using Bluetooth technology. This would help public health officials track the speed of COVID 19. This new tool brings with not only a hope for a quicker end to the pandemic but also a host of privacy and security concerns about these applications. If one of those people reports corona symptoms to a public health authority, your phone would receive an alert about the diagnosis. It works a bit like exchanging contact information with everyone you meet, except everything is designed to be anonymous and automatic. Once the system is equipped with this new contact tracing software, your software will periodically exchange anonymous tracking keys with the nearby devices via Bluetooth. The phone maintains a list of keys collected from people you have come into contact, that which stays on your device, not a server, unless you test positive for coronavirus and report your diagnosis. If this happens, your phone will upload those keys to a server that will send alerts to the owners of recently collected keys. The alert will not reveal who is infected. That is, we are maintaining the privacy. The software is maintaining the privacy in that concern. The Bluetooth based approach also draws on beacon technology that is already in use. Understanding the privacy and security implications to this new corona contact tracing technology, it will take definitely some time. This is the technology development. GPS and Bluetooth communications will be open most of the time, which lead to a security issue again that we should take care of this one. Say for example, Kavita and Gautam meet each other and have a 10-minute conversation. Their phones exchange anonymous identifier beacons. A few days later, Gautam finds out he is positively diagnosed with COVID 19 and he updates an app with that information. Gautam is diagnosed for COVID 19 and enters the test result in an app from a public health authority. With Gautam's consent, he uploads the last 14 days of keys for his broadcast beacons to the cloud. Kavita continues her day unaware she had been near a potentially contagious person. Kavita gets a notification on her phone. Kavita's phone periodically downloads the broadcast beacons keys of everyone who tested positive for COVID 19 in her region. A match is found with Gautam's anonymous identifier beacons. Finally, everyone talking about whether or not this year could be a resurgence in our lifestyle. Fight with COVID. Make use of the technology development appropriately, safely, with fullest cooperation.
Madam, would you like to add to her points?
Yes, because the mobile applications that are developed at this situation are really helping the government as well as the public to a larger extent. For example, if a user tests positive, that adds the data to the public health application, and users who came into contact either knowingly or unknowingly during the period in a close proximity over the period of 14 days or so, health agencies will be easily can track
Yes.
those
Yes.
cases, and definitely it is of great help to them, because now we are talking about both the symptomatic and asymptomatic type of cases, because we are now concerned about whether this coronavirus is becoming a community spread or not. These types of applications will definitely help us to track the close contacts of a positive case, and I think technology has really revolutionized, and it has helped us a major way. Thanks for bringing up this particular
Yes.
point for discussion, Dr. Meena.
Yes, thank you.
Through newspapers and hearsay, we come to know about different kinds of cyber attacks happening. I would like to take response from Dr. Padma on these lines.
Yes, absolutely right, Dr. Aarti, because for the past 10-15 days, if you look at the newspapers, we come across a lot of cyber attacks, and really people doubt whether we are undergoing the cyber war from certain specific places. So, identifying and responding to COVID-19 situation has definitely opened up a lot of uh, cases for launching the cyber attack. I would like to quote the recent study by Interpol and the KPMG, which is mainly bothered about three important aspects. One is about the malicious domain, and the other one is the malware and the ransomware. Thousands of websites are created in this pandemic situation, giving information about the corona in the name of coronavirus, COVID, and the financial assistance, the bank loans, the micro organizations, funding schemes, etc. So these websites provide the maps, statistics, some tips to health tips to handle, and many more related issues, and through which they can spread the spams, and they can launch phishing attacks, as we discussed earlier. Also, there is a possibility to spread the malware, and each websites by the name they actually claim that they provide some latest updates. And see, even I am very curious about to know the nationwide or worldwide count that is increasing, and how many are getting affected, and what are the remedies. Sometimes seeing the situation, we may try to go for our own home simple home remedies or alternative system of medicines. So when we start searching for, nowadays even the symptoms are also changing constantly, so when we try to look for such details, definitely we are trapped into malware, spyware, and other trojans, because they are embedded in the coronavirus maps and the websites. Basically, the phishing emails, they tempt the users to click the links. Uh, if you look at the spelling of the website, they are more or less similar to that. They just trick us by one or two words. So naturally, will not be noticing the small change in the spelling and so on. So we try to, in a hurry or in agony, we try to click those unwanted links, and we, without our knowledge, will be disclosing our credentials like our mobile number and so many other things. So these attacks happen through these types of computers, and of course, as Dr. Meena said, through mobile apps as well. The next important concern is the ransomware, because the hospitals, the healthcare sectors, organizations, medical centers, and even the public institutions, they are now acting very alertly, and this created a lot of websites. They have created websites and links to the public people about their health and other thing. So first thing which is at risk is the medical records. So what they try to compromise the medical data, and naturally these data can be collected, and sometimes they are encrypted, and they ask for some ransom to decrypt the entire file. So this puts the healthcare officials at a very major risk. The next important concern is the pornographic image sharing and the social exchanges, because a lot of children are today are into the online mode of learning, and still we are not very clear about the policies of online lectures and online learning situation. So naturally, children are taken towards unwanted links and YouTube clippings, which can definitely spoil the mind and the habits of the children. I would like to quote here one incident, that is the boys' locker room, which happened very recently, because children are tempted to explore other things other than the learning resources as well. So I should say that in this pandemic time, fake websites to collect Office 365 credentials, a very famous application, and some significant attacks like Microsoft Documents and malware downloads with macro enabled Microsoft Documents, and phishing emails through the Center of Disease Control websites. These are some of the recent things that had happened. And of course, Microsoft intelligent team is working, and they have warned also about the Pony Final ransomware attack. So the customer advisories, they also update their service sectors and service disruptions due to COVID. This may be also due to malware downloads and other unwanted phishing emails. So, the ministers of health and World Health Organization, they are taking more precautionary measures to collect the data about all these cyber attacks and how safe we can be in this pandemic situation. And of course, in my observation, the worst hit industries are the financial and the banking industries. So, apart from the various cyber attacks which we were just now discussing, the most important sectors that are affected are the financial sectors and the banking sectors. So, I would actually like to conclude my saying that we have to be extremely cautious about all these attacks that are launched recently, and one has to be very careful about disclosing the personal information and other credentials if they are unnecessarily asked for by any unknown resources.
How do you think, from your viewpoint, people can much more be alert?
As per Madam's suggestion and my final word, we should be very cautious in using the bank applications, accessing the mails, and in general, accessing the social media.
Against the backdrop of this discussion, it is understood that technology has both pros and cons. It becomes safe when the end users are careful in handling technologies. Digitalization has its own challenges. We should learn to live with technology. At the same time, we have technology to keep us safe too. We should prepare ourselves to be digitally safe. It is in our hands to be safe in a cyber environment. We thank our institute for all the support, and we feel that this responsible move will surely sensitize people, adding to their knowledge, and will help to lead a cyber safe life. Thank you. Stay healthy, stay safe.